It begins with the end customer and it ends with the end customer, if there really is an end. We've got to adapt and change our technologies every day to make sure that we're taking the customer's view of what their expectations are and what they think is valuable, and put that into the supply chain from the very beginning, from when a product begins till it gets to the end consumer. So for us, our end game strategy always begins with the customer and the customer experience and the customer expectations. You know, in our industry, as in every industry, technology and advancements continue to play a big role in what someone's supply chain is going to look like in the future. And a couple of things that we see, whether it's 3D printing, we've engaged with that very heavily with our hub in Louisville. We've got 3D printers that are helping in our manufacturing industry sector, and we've got 3D printers running 24/7. But I also think about drones. And right now we're engaged with a couple different companies looking at using drones and figuring out how can they be used and what's the best way to bring them into the fold right now. And as an example, we use them in some of our warehouses in Europe for inventory analysis and updates. And we're really experimenting with it. And I think those are just a couple of the ideas that we really see as being cornerstone of some of the things we're going to do in the future. You know, in today's industry, companies, no matter whether they're extremely big or small, can't go it alone. And there are so many very, very smart and savvy folks coming into the industry every day to be those disruptors. And I think one of the things that UPS does, as do many of the other carriers in the supply chain, is it's of benefit to really partner and engage with the startups and with the young technology companies. Because while they may not have the full idea as far as what their idea will flourish and turn into, it's in partnering with companies like UPS, I think that it gives their ideas at least the grounds to grow, to see what the full capabilities are. So we're very engaged with new companies and really enjoy that aspect of our business, with us having been in business for so long. It's always great to see the new ideas put forth by a lot of these technology companies. Many things do, by the way, but one of the things when I think about the industry is it's always the face and the voice of the customer. What keeps me up at night is I think about are the technologies and are the things that we're following today still relevant to what the customer wants and expects for tomorrow? And oftentimes companies the size of UPS and other companies can get lost in listening to themselves, thinking that the direction they're going with their own investments is really what the customer expects. But you could wake up one morning and realize you completely missed the mark. So I think while there's a lot that could keep me up, making sure that we are laser focused on expectations and what the value appreciation of customers are going to be for tomorrow is really I think what's the ever changing and keeps me awake. You know, it's interesting, when I started in the industry 30 years ago as a UPS driver, I never ever woke up one day in the morning and thought, boy, I can't wait to grow up and be a UPS driver in a transportation industry. It just wasn't what we all thought about, whether it was being a doctor or a fireman or a teacher, all great professions, but never thought about going into transportation. And right now what we see is the potential at a talent gap, because that transportation supply chain industry also competes with what's seen on television and the handheld devices we all hold. And yet many of the youth don't understand that all of that technology is completely embedded and has to be perfected and honed and innovated more in the supply chains. So I think we're getting better at trying to bridge the gap of talent, to bring in that type of technology-driven talent into the supply chain world, but I would say that there's still more work that has to get done. But conferences like this, I think, help build a platform where folks can understand that that it isn't your yesterday's transportation or supply chain that's going to take us into tomorrow. Thinking about when I started 30 years ago, I can tell you that as a young person with bills to pay, what got me into the transportation industry was the ability to pay my bills and make ends meet. And who knew 30 years later I would have had the opportunities that UPS had provided me in this industry. But I think what really got me into it was this industry of the supply chain. One company, and what one company does well isn't enough to make sure that you take care of all the needs of your customers and your end consumers. You really need to morph and adapt to become so much more than just being one-dimensional, as you don't make just one product or you don't have one service that's going to answer everybody's questions and be a solution to their problem. So to me, what I'm very happy about, and what I didn't realize early on, was that this would provide such a varying opportunity of things to do, and all interesting and innovative ideas, technology driven, that can really make a difference. And to me, that's been the surprise, and it's been just a joy to have seen it evolve over the last 30 years.